Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series Nails in the Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. When this video goes up, we actually have 31 days left until Halloween, and it's one of my favorite holidays of the year, and I'm getting really happy. Before we get started, here's a look at the average nails in a coffin for the first 7 movies in the Halloween franchise. We're covering Halloween Resurrection today, which is, of course, a direct sequel to Halloween H2O. When Halloween H2O ended, Laurie had decapitated Michael with an axe. The original plans were just to end the franchise at Halloween H2O, but they wanted a sequel, so they did a bunch of retconning, which is why we have this movie. What happened at the end of Halloween H2O, Laurie didn't decapitate Michael, but what happened was that we see at the beginning of this movie, Michael took a paramedic, crushed his windpipe, changed clothes with him, which resulted in Laurie killing an innocent paramedic, also resulting in Laurie getting sent to a psychiatric hospital where she's suffering from extreme dissociative disorder, and Michael is still at large. Sanitarium security officer Franklin was investigating an open gate. He went outside to find one of the patients, Harold, out of their room. We then see Michael looking towards the open gate. Franklin escorted the patient back to the room, and his partner Willie was looking at security cameras, and he noticed someone else roaming in the basement. Both Franklin and Willie went downstairs to the basement to investigate, thinking this was Harold again, which was the patient that was outside the gate. Willie stopped by one of the vending machines because he was hungry, with Franklin continuing to look for who they thought was Harold. Willie hears Franklin scream, so he goes downstairs and he's standing in the laundry room. When Willie is opening door to the dryer, Michael drops down from the ceiling with some impressive strength and a one-arm pull-up. Well, Willie finds that Franklin had lost his head and it's in the dryer, so he gets scared and, jumps back and he's on the floor. As soon as he gets up, he backs up into Michael, who grabs him and slashes his throat. The 2 security guards are our first kills in the movie. Now, Franklin, his was off screen, so I'm not going to be able to give it a nail rating. Willie did die on screen, and I'm going to award him 1 nail in the coffin. As you know, if you watch some of my videos, I tend to hold police and security guards to a higher standard. So Willie heard his partner scream, and he didn't call in to anybody or anything of the sort. And when he was looking down in the basement by the laundry room, he didn't turn any lights on. There was one overhead light, and he had his flashlight, but I'm sure this area had more lights you can turn on. So he's looking for an escaped mental patient, and his partner had screamed, and he doesn't really want to turn any more lights on. Granted, I can understand him being, freaked out when he saw, his partner's head, and he, fell back to the floor. But he just backed up and backed into Michael, getting himself killed. Had no sense of awareness at all. Poor example for security guard, and good old Willie, I'm giving you 1 nail in the coffin. This next death is the one that I hate most at the entire Halloween franchise. So Michael killed the security guard, so he made his way into the sanitarium so he can go find his sister. He bursts through the door to her room, and he's standing over her bed, but she's not in it. Laurie hits Michael on the back of the head with the lamp, and she runs up to the roof with Michael chasing her. Michael gets to the roof, but Laurie's already up there, and she set a trap for him. It was kind of like a snare trap. So she hits this button. This rope wraps around Michael's leg, and it hangs him over the side of the building, and he drops his knife. As he's hanging over the side of the building, Laurie picks up the knife, and she's about to cut the rope so she can drop her brother to his death. But all of a sudden, he grabs his head, very similar to the way that the paramedic grabbed his head at the end of Halloween H2O, which doesn't make any sense because Michael didn't see that because he was still back at the school when Laurie drove away. So, yeah, real bad writing in this. So this freaks out Laurie, and she has her doubts. So she goes over to Michael, who's hanging there. She wants to remove his mask to make sure that, it actually is her brother that she's killing. But when she goes to remove his mask, Michael grabs her. They both fall over the side of the building. Michael has his knife, stabs Laurie in the back, and before she dies and falls to her death, she gives him a kiss and says, "I'll see you in hell." And like I said, she falls down to her death. I really hate what they did to Laurie. Now, look, Jamie Lee Curtis would only do this movie if her Laurie was killed off in the first act because she felt her story was done. And the way Halloween H2O ended, that really should have been the end of the Halloween franchise, sans the remakes. So, because they killed Laurie Strode off really unceremoniously, and I'm going to have to give this victim 2 nails in a coffin. which really pains me because she's one of my favorite final girls in horror. Now, if this wasn't actually Laurie Strode, I most likely would have given the victim one nail in the coffin for the dumb mistakes. She wanted to make sure it was Michael so she could be certain her nightmare would be over. So I'm going to take into consideration, she was pretty much suffering from severe PTSD from, the events of Halloween H2O. But the way they went about it was really cheap. And they really made her do dumb decisions. Like she must have forgot Michael had arms that he could have grabbed her because he wasn't injured yet. So really bad writing in this. I really do not like what they did to Laurie Strode. And only because it's Laurie, I'm not going to give her one nail because Laurie Strode will get my 2 nails in a coffin. And she really deserved a lot better. On the eve of Halloween, we have 6 students attend a meeting with Freddie and Nora, Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks. They're there with the dangerentertainment.com website. And the plan for this website is to enter the Myers residence and spend a night on Halloween during a live internet broadcast. I see what they were going for with this movie, when the internet really started to explode and, live broadcasts. But this movie really does have bull riding and there's so much cringe in it. So during the day at the boarded up Myers house, we have Karen and Charlie sitting up, cameras everywhere. Well, Michael is home and he picks up one of the camera tripods with the camera on the end of it. And then we get a view of the camera on the tripod as Michael is walking towards Charlie. Charlie is standing there as Michael is slowly walking towards him. And so Charlie backs up into a corner. Michael, still slowly walking towards him, takes the leg of the tripod and pierces it right through Charlie's throat, spearing him through it and killing him. And I'm going to give Charlie one nail in the coffin. He saw Michael standing there approaching him slowly, and all he did was back up. He didn't even say anything or try anything. He just stared at the person and backed up into a corner. And he didn't even put his hands up to the tripod, was pretty much touching, his Adam's apple on his throat. He didn't do anything. So all day long, this is going to be a one nail in the coffin kill. Later at night during the Halloween live broadcast, we have students searching around the house to search for clues to discover the secrets of Michael Myers. And they're all wearing these point of view cameras since this is the live broadcast. Bill, he was looking around in Judith's room and he's looking in the mirror talking to the camera saying how, he's going to find all these clues. But Michael breaks through the mirror, grabs Bill. Bill's trying to fight him off, but Michael stabs him in the chest, takes his knife and then stabs him on top of the head, killing him instantly. The Rookie of the Year is going to get 2 nails in a coffin. He had no idea the real Michael Myers, would be in the house. Bill was just, playing as part of the show. When Michael broke through the mirror, Bill tried to fight him off, and he was yelling, but Michael was too strong, and he was able to stab him in the chest once or twice before giving him a finishing stab to the top of the head. Now, I don't think Bill did enough to get him 3 nails in the coffins, but I'm going to have him sit comfortably with a solid 2 nails in the coffin. We next have Donna, who is investigating by a collapsed basement wall where she found a passageway that led into this bricked area with the bed, and she finds an infestation of rats. This is where Michael lives, eating rats for food, and she finds like a third of an eaten rat, thinking it's a prop, but when she goes to touch it, she sees that the rat is actually real and it's not dead, and she freaks out. So Michael shows up and he starts stalking her down this passageway, but unfortunately for Donna, it led to a dead end. Donna got cornered, and Michael pretty much just pushed her back through this metal spike on the broken gate, and he killed her. For the same reasons I gave Bill 2 nails, I'm going to give Donna 2 nails in a coffin. She thought what she was seeing was part of the internet show until she saw a rat that was actually real. But by then, Michael was already ready for the kill, stalking her. She did try and run away and call for help. It looks like she was going to try and climb through this hole in the gate, but I couldn't really tell. Now, if I know for sure she was trying to get through that hole in the gap, that gap in the gate, I should say, I most likely would have given her that extra nail, but Donna will sit comfortably with 2 nails in the coffin. Jenna, who was also on her investigation of the Myers house, she's looking around and she opens the trap door to the attic where Bill's bloody body falls and freaks her out. She screams, but everybody thinks it's she's performing for part of the web show. So Jenna is standing on top of the stairs, in shock, and Michael slowly walks towards her. Well, she's just standing there screaming as Michael, stands in front of her. He draws his hand back with the big old kitchen knife, and in one swipe, he cleanly decapitates her. Jenna screamed her way to one nail in the coffin. As soon as she saw that it was Bill's body, she screamed, so she knew that it was real. And she stops at the top of the stairs, not saying anything or going down the stairs to where the rest of her friends are and the cast members. And when Michael walked in front of her, she just stood there and screamed. She didn't try and run or even move. Plain stupidity here. I was close to 0 nails in a coffin, but I want to save those for that really special stupid characters. Jenna was just your typical stupid character in a movie, so this is going to be an easy 1 nail in the coffin. When Jenna was decapitated, her head fell down the stairs to the feet of Jim, Rudy, and Sarah. They take off running when Michael starts walking down the stairs, but they can't get the front door open because it's barred shut. So they run into the next room with Michael walking down the stairs. Rudy is trying to kick out a boarded up window, and Jim hits Michael in the head with the camera, standing on a tripod. And of course, this has no effect. On Jim's second swing, Michael catches the tripod. He then takes his knife and stabs into the wall on purpose. He then grabs Jim's head, lifts him up, and crushes it with his bare hands. Jim had a case of I forgot how to move, which also means he gets 1 nail in the coffin. Granted, he did try and hit Michael with the camera, but he just stood there after he hit him, like he was waiting for a reaction, and then he slowly swung the tripod again. After Michael grabbed the tripod, Jim forgot how to move and just stood there. Even when Michael was raising his knife before he stabbed him to the wall, he just stood there and didn't move. Now, he had time to run, attack, or do anything other than just stand there. So I'll give a death like this 1 nail in the coffin all day long. Our final death in the movie is Rudy. He and Sarah were just standing there watching Michael crush Jim's head. But once Michael was done killing Jim, Sarah took off running and Michael went to follow her up the stairs. Sarah's foot got stuck in a broken step and Michael was closely approaching her. Rudy distracted Michael and Michael followed Rudy into the kitchen, this giving Sarah a chance to escape. Rudy hit him with the rolling pin and he even threw salt or pepper in Michael's eyes, which I really liked that part. So Rudy then picked up 2 knives as Michael was approaching and he tried to slash at him a few times. He tried to get out the kitchen door, but it was locked. He couldn't get out. Michael was able to grab both of Rudy's arms. He lifted him up against the door, stabbed Rudy through the chest with the 2 knives, pinning it to him, picked up another knife, and finished the job with a third knife through Rudy and through the door. Our final kill in the worst Halloween film, in my opinion, is Rudy, and I'm going to award him 3 nails in a coffin. He distracted Michael to save Sarah, and then he hit him with the rolling pin, and throwing salt or pepper into his eyes was actually a brilliant move that's like the only part about this movie that I actually enjoyed, because that was actually a smart decision. I've never seen that before in a movie. And he was the only person in this movie to at least try and do something against Michael as far as fighting him or trying to get away, and he did give Sarah a chance to escape, so he did save her, and that goes a long way with the nails in the coffin. And once he saw the door to the kitchen was locked, he kind of stopped trying, but he knew his time was up, but he definitely did more than enough for me to award him 3 nails in a coffin. The movie wraps things up with Sarah and Michael in a tool shed, which is where the control room was located for the live stream. The tool shed is now on fire and Michael is about to get Sarah, but Busta Rhymes shows up and he has a fight with Michael. During their fight, Michael was able to knock Busta Rhymes across the room and he fell to the floor. And when Michael was walking over to Busta Rhymes to finish the job, good old Busta grabbed an electrical cable, tore it, and then shocked Michael right in the ding-ding. This sent Michael flying back to a bunch of electrical cables where he was electrocuted and set on fire. And a short while later, Michael was taken to the morgue, and when the coroner unzips the body bag, Michael opens his eyes, and the movie cuts to black. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my nails on a coffin for Halloween Resurrection. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. And here's a look at the average nails in a coffin for the first 8 movies in the Halloween franchise. Of all the current 12 movies in the Halloween franchise, this one is surely my dead last. Shout out to Movie Timelines. Thanks, Josh. This is just not a good movie at all. really bad writing. It was just another movie when they're trying to, crap out another sequel. I have no reason to ever watch this movie again, nor do I ever hope or need to ever watch this movie again. But I will see you all here next week when I cover Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween, which surely is a very, very divisive film. So that's going to be a wild ride covering those Rob Zombie movies for the next few weeks. So everybody take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay safe, stay happy. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.